So while everybody's attention's being turned to the air balloons, quote unquote, from China floating through the sky, don't forget that this has been going on for a couple of years now. Absolutely every place. Not just in the United States, but this is the war. This is how they're doing it. This is a fifth dimensional war, fifth dimensional warfare. We learned about this at the beginning of the COVID pandemic from military soldiers that explained what a fifth dimensional war is. These guys are kicking our asses every place. It's insane to me how many chemical plants have caught on fire just in 2022. And because this is the new world order, not just the takedown of the United States, this is absolutely everywhere. It's in every country. It's all over the place. Do you see what I'm saying? This is getting crazy, and you need to pay attention because this is the war. This is how they're doing it.
I see so many people talking about the train derailment at East Palestine, Ohio. And all I'm going to ask is that if you do this, you get your facts right. I literally grew up right down the road from East Palestine. My old childhood best friend lives in the fucking town. My current best friend literally lives right next to the town. It is so much worse than what the media is telling any of us. I'm getting reports from people that are down there right now that they're literally seeing schools of fish floating down streams, rivers, fucking dead. I got a video from my friend, okay? And she's like walking, dude, it's all fucking dead. All fucking dead. And on the top of the water is a really pretty chemical rainbow sheen. The chemicals are in the fucking water and they're lying to the rest of the country saying they're not. The water's been contaminated. The soil's been contaminated. The fucking air is contaminated. You literally are about to see some of the worst fucking health side effects coming out of people in that town. It's not even funny. And y'all want to know something even more fucked up? The restaurant that I work at in a whole different state had to donate food to them because we had people from the churches calling to tell us that Red Cross never fucking came, FEMA never fucking came, the environmental conservationists still have yet to fucking come, and nobody's fucking helping them. Meaning all of the fucking firefighters that were working get no food, have nothing to help them, nothing. Okay, all the people that were displaced have no food, water, a place to stay, none of that shit. It is so much worse than what they're telling you. And TikTok probably won't even let me post this video. But if this video gets posted, please save it and repost it everywhere you fucking can. Because I'm telling y'all, they are covering this shit up. They are covering this shit up because they don't want to get out how bad it actually was. This was not good. This was the worst fucking thing that's happened probably in the past 8 years.
Well, I disagree. They're not covering it up. They're just allowing it to spread. They want maximum damage out of this thing. And just like everything else, this is how you know this is part of their warfare plan. Just like everything else. They told us about it before it happened.
Good evening. Super light buzz today. Definitely no anxiety over here. This story is one of the weirdest coincidences ever. People living in eastern Ohio evacuated their homes last week following a train derailment and chemical spill that sent toxic chemicals into the air. The crazy thing is, they did the same thing for a fictional disaster film a year ago.
Something that could actually kill someone.
Let's watch a sitcom or something.
No! Evacuate all places of residence.
All right, I'm going to break this down here.
Today, the EPA said the train that derailed and caught fire in East Palestine, Ohio, was carrying and actually released more toxic chemicals than was first reported.
That major train derailment in Ohio. Hundreds were forced to evacuate, and now they're complaining of headaches and sore throats. And what's even worse, some animals are dying.
People say their animals have become sick. Don't tell me it's safe. Something's going on if the fish are floating in the creek.
The movie is called White Noise. It came out on Netflix in November. It stars Adam Driver. The premise of the movie is this: a freight train derails and explodes, and families have to flee the toxic fallout. The film was shot all over Ohio. It features extras in vacation scenes, including a family from New Palestine. Ben Ratner and his family filmed a scene where they were sitting in a traffic jam of people who were trying to evacuate. Then, last week's train derailment in real life and fire happened less than a mile from their home. They had to leave for real.
Yeah.
Isn't this wild?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, the simulation is not even good. It's crazy. They stayed at town over a while authorities conducted a controlled burn to get rid of those chemicals. The EPA says there's no longer a risk to people in that area, but the family is not so sure. They told CNN they are not thinking that they're ever going to go back.
Man, at least they weren't in Don't Look Up.
That's true. Could have ended a little bit differently.
Been that
But
way
you said you saw this movie.
Don't Look Up is kind of coming true right now. I mean, with the 4 different objects in the sky.
50 cars went off the track near the Pennsylvania border, causing a day-long fire in that area. It looked like there was a mushroom fire, which was quite concerning in that area.
It's been 12 days since the fiery derailment of a train carrying hazardous chemicals through East Palestine, Ohio. Ohio officials confirming some 3,500 fish died in local waters in the days after the derailment.
This train apparently was not considered a high hazardous material train. Therefore, the railroad was not required to notify anyone here in Ohio about what was in the rail cars coming through our state.
So this wasn't a hazardous train whatsoever at all. But let's take a look at the chemicals that were in here. This was basically a recipe to take out an entire town, community, and all the neighboring area and destroy the water. This is no joke.
Next, the chemicals that were on that train. There wasn't just vinyl chloride. There was 150 rail cars. 20 of them had chemicals, and I believe only 4 or 5 of them were vinyl chloride. So what was it that they were carrying that they burned into the atmosphere, you ask? According to a letter from the EPA, Southern train comprised of roughly 150 rail cars derailed. Approximately 20 rail cars were listed as carrying hazardous materials. Cars containing vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and ethylene glycol monobutyl ether are known to have been and continue to be released to the air, surface soils, and surface waters. Now, when you burn vinyl chloride, it becomes hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride likes to bind to water, whether that's liquid water or water vapor. When it does that, it becomes hydrochloric acid, okay? Butyl acrylate is another toxic flammable chemical that they use to make paint, coatings, caulks, sealants, adhesives. The vapors from this stuff can form explosive mixtures in the air, and it's heavier than other chemicals, so it settles quickly into the soil and water, leaving a slick film on water surfaces. It gets into the sewer systems where it can be a fire hazard because it's flammable, and that it could ignite in the sewer systems or in basements. With ethyl hexyl acrylate, the vapors cause drowsiness and convulsions. Of course, all these chemicals irritate the eyes, burn the lungs, and irritate and burn the skin. They use this chemical, again, to make paints and plastics. And this is another acidic chemical that will react well with butyl acrylate. Now, ethylene glycol monobutyl ether is a lot like butyl acrylate. It's used in varnishes and paints and solvents. It reacts with bases, aluminum, and oxidizing. It forms peroxides when exposed to air and light, and it will eat away at some plastics and rubber. It's also a heavy chemical, so it settles in sewers and basements as well. You know, there are a couple of waterways, Leslie's Run and Sulphur Run, which is a strange name. And these two water systems flow from East Palestine. It flows from Pennsylvania to the Ohio River and all.
He's talking too slow for me. Basically, all of this is going to go right from Ohio straight down the Mississippi River, and it's going to contaminate everything right down to the ocean, all the way down to Louisiana all over again. These guys have been doing this and blowing stuff up since 2019. I'm not even going to go back before that, but I mean, it's just nonstop, never ending. And let's not forget the food plants, but that's a whole different tentacle of the octopus, we'll call it. How about that? It's early, all right? These guys have been burning down absolutely everything. So this is all going into the water, this is going into the air, and this is worldwide. It's not just the United States, because there is no China against the U.S. It's the New World Order against us, and they're winning big time because they're not stopping. They're not stopping. They're not stopping. This is happening. This is war right here. This is how they're going to do it. They're going to use all these quote-unquote accidents. They're going to use the quote-unquote weather and quote-unquote food shortages. Do you see what I'm saying? This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. I don't know how else to say it. At any rate, Richie from Boston. Sorry about the girl swearing at the beginning, but you know what? She's pissed off because this is happening. I'm out.